If you're all about that YOLO life, Sersi might just be your gal. I'll say this, she's gonna make for some pretty viral moments on Snap. We'll get to her insane ability in just a bit. But first, who is Sersi? So, millions of years ago, the cosmic beings known as the Celestials came to Earth. They messed around with genetics and created the Deviants. The Celestials were like, oops, my bad. These Deviants are kind of messing up Earth here, so they created the Eternals to protect humanity. Eternals, with their superpowers and near immortality, have become the basis of various mythological figures around the world and largely hid themselves away from humans. Sersi? She is a 4th generation Eternal, and unlike her fellow Eternals, she wanted to live among humans, often accompanied by her longtime lover Makari. No, not that one, this one. We'll talk about that in the Makari video. But back to Sersi. As a member of the Eternals, she has their standard superhero levels of strength and endurance, but she can also alter the molecular and atomic structure of all matter, including living organisms, i.e. transmutation, just like in the movie. At one point in the modern era, she actually joined the RNGsus, where she met the Black Knight, and they started a relationship, but that didn't really work out. Sersi ultimately met her demise though during the events of AXE Judgment Day. See, a group of Eternals, Tony Stark and Mr. Sinister, resurrected the dead Celestial known as the Progenitor, hoping that the cosmic god would stop Druig, another Eternal, from attacking mutant kind. However, this completely backfired as the Progenitor immediately turned on the planet Earth, judging the world's heroes and villains and citizens to be unworthy and thus needed to be destroyed. Despite the heroes' efforts, they could not stop the Progenitor until Sersi finally revealed to all of Earth the Eternals' greatest secret to their immortality, the darkest secret of the Eternals. Every time an Eternal dies and is resurrected, a human is killed to power that resurrection. Exposing the secret caused the people of Earth to judge Sersi as unworthy, and thus she was destroyed by the Progenitor. The sacrifice though inspired Ajax, Jean Grey and Tony Stark to convince the Progenitor of its own unworthiness and thus was not worthy of judging anyone. So it used its godly powers to restore almost everything back to normal, everything except for Sersi, because she was judged by the people of Earth and not the Progenitor itself. In Marvel Snap, Sersi is a 5-cost, 7-power card with the ability, on reveal, transform your other cards here into random cards that cost 1 more if able. So I guess the question you really have to ask yourself is, do you prioritize a fun time in this game? Having fun in the game, imagine that. Or do you prioritize the consistency to climb ladder and winning conquest? I think she's gonna need a lot of experimenting. The very nature of what she does makes her an incredibly high RNG card, one that could tilt you super hard, lose you games as often as it could swing the game in your favor. I mean, okay, here are some obvious synergies, let's get them out of the way. Mockingbird. Her transformed cards will discount your Mockingbird, right? Sentry's Void. You can transform it into a 5-cost if you don't draw your Annihilus, so she could be an addition in the Junk archetype. Now, generally, on reveal cards that aren't great stats but have effects that you want, for example, Spider-Ham or Pixie, you get the effect and then trade up for, hopefully, more power with Sersi. But that's the thing, right? Hopefully, you get more power. Worst case scenario, you get cards that completely work against what you have going on. I mean, it's not even like hand generation cards like Loki or Agent Coulson, where you get cards you didn't put in your deck, but you can still choose to play. With Sersi, you could play her on a lane with 3 Broods, for example, and end up with a Mr. Negative, Ghost Rider, and a Tumor. Like, there's no way of knowing what you're gonna get. Like, maybe you play her as a last-ditch effort. I'm gonna lose this lane anyway, so YOLO kind of thing, right? I don't know. Let me know if you find a way to play Sersi effectively, or is she gonna be just this meme card? Sersi comes to the spotlight caches with 2 Series 4 cards. Meek, who is decent in his style of discard, but his style of discard isn't the one putting out big numbers. And Phoenix Force, who in the right hands is a very powerful archetype, but is definitely not a card you can just plug and play into your collection. If there ever was a week to save keys and tokens, this might be it. I mean, iffy spotlight options and all, but hey,